Andrew Heslop is the founder and he joins us now. Andrew, good morning. Have we lost that all-important sense of community?
Look, I don't think we have, mate. We here in the Avenue in Petersham this morning have got a great community. I think here we're more likely to be Summer Bay than anywhere else in Australia. But it's really disappointing given that 75% to 78% of Australians are actually dissatisfied with their work. So it seems that it's really strange that they hate where they work, but they're good mates with their colleagues.
All right, so Andrew, why are we having less contact with our own neighbours? Are we scared of getting into some sort of dispute?
Look, it could be that we're scared of that, but I think it's more likely that both parents are working these days. That traditional family unit has now changed. Even when I was growing up in Adelaide 30 years ago, my parents and my grandparents had a great relationship with our neighbours. We walked to school, we walked to the shops, we walked to the beach. These days, we're more reliant on our car. So I think probably of all things, the car is most to blame because we use that to go to the shops and to sport and to school instead of walking up and down the street and conversing with our neighbours along the way.
All right. Andrew, what about when you do have to deal with conflict? Andrew from New South Wales has written into the soapbox. He says, I'm renovating at the moment and my neighbour told me the other day that she's sick of the noise. Now, what's the best way to resolve a dispute?
Well, I think one of the best ways to resolve the dispute is to knock on the door and say, look, what's the issue here? I know you're trying to renovate your house, but, you know, I might be a shift worker. So how can we come to some sort of agreement that allows me to have a sleep and you to do the work on your house? But I reckon, you know, it might be home renovations that get up people's noses, but I reckon it's the leaf blower that causes the most distress in suburban communities all over Australia.
Now, tell us about, you've been running Neighbourhood Day for years. Tell us about the difference that you've seen in communities where neighbours actually do get to know each other.
Well, I think here this morning in the Avenue in Petersham with all of my neighbours here, you know, we're a very strong community. In fact, one of our neighbours, her husband was seriously injured in a bicycle accident at Eastern Creek on Sunday. She was in Bruny Island off Hobart. She relied on Elizabeth at number 1 to talk to the neighbours behind her house to go and visit her husband in hospital. He'd broken his pelvis. He was in an extremely bad way, but she needed that reassurance from someone she trusted in addition to the medical staff to make sure her loved one was fine. She's got back to Australia, into mainland Australia. She's picked up her husband from Westmead Hospital and this morning they're at home watching us. And if that's not a good representation of strong neighbours working together, I don't know what is.
Yeah, Andrew, that's pretty good. That's something we can all have a think about. As you saw earlier, a lot of people say they would like to have a better relationship with their neighbours. Andrew, thanks very much for your time.
Thanks, mate.